Well, I've messed that up, haven't I? I've done this for a little while. Right, here we go. You can see my big, beautiful face now. How are we, everyone? I hope you're all okay. Hope you've all kind of, well, I don't think anyone's going to have recovered from the frustration that we're all still feeling from the weekend, but we're going to get into that. I'm joined by Gary and Grant. Grant, thank you for joining. Good to have you back.
Well, thank you for having me.
Good stuff. Right, very quickly, what we're going to be doing tonight, we're going to be carving the show up into kind of three sections. So we're going to be reviewing the Chelsea game. We're going to separate the VAR incident, and we're going to talk about that separately because the PGMOL, is that the governing body? The fucking dickheads that run it. They have come out and made a statement today that we're going to discuss, and it ain't just a West Ham. I don't know if anyone watched Match of the Day last night, but there's been a few stinkers this weekend, so we're going to talk about that as well. And then we're going to go on to talk about David Moyes and a lot of the frustrations around the way that we're playing with the new players that we've brought in and stuff like that. So we're going to cover all of those in three different sections. If anybody does fancy coming on and just kind of giving you a point of view, if anyone's in the chat that does fancy coming on for sort of 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just giving us your point of view, then drop us a request in the chat and we'll get you on. We'll get you on, all right? I think Luke's going to be joining later, and I've sent an invitation to Tommy, but very late notice, so Tommy might be coming on as well. Okay, Gary, how are you anyway?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm still reeling a little bit from that decision yesterday, but you know, it's all right now because PGMOL have come out and said, "Oh, we got it wrong. Sorry about that. We're going to do a session on Monday, and we'll learn some lessons from it." So brilliant. Well done. Well done.
Means absolutely fuck all to us, though, does it?
No,
we don't get our
all.
Point. Grant, yourself?
Yeah, doing good, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
I'm all well. Yeah.
All right, lovely. Well, look, let's get on with the show. Let's get on with the first section, and we'll get the Chelsea game out of the way. I think we was all quite pleasantly surprised to see Paqueta in the lineup, weren't we? Starting lineup, that was good.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't expecting him to start. I've got to be honest. I thought it'd still be used as a bit of an impact player for a little while. But the first half was probably it was one of the most boring games in the first half that you'll see. I think Chelsea didn't really have much about him going forward. And we set out with a game plan in a similar way, even though it's a different shape. The mindset was the same, and that was just for 45 minutes to just suffocate him, absorb what they've got, let them have the ball, and see if they can break us down. We made it to half time. We did it. We did well. You know, the plan, the Moyes plan, was executed well. Whether you agree with it or not, it was. The players were all on board with it. They all put in good shifts. But it was a bit of a non-event that first half. There weren't really much going on there, was there, Gal?
No, there wasn't. I mean, it was literally nothing. They went through the highlights on Match of the Day this morning, and I think Chelsea had one shot that went wide, and then I think they basically went to the second half.
Yeah, that was on 30 minutes. That was on 30 minutes. That shot.
Yeah. So look, it weren't just us that were poor. Chelsea was poor as well. You know, but. Nonetheless, it just made for a bore fest, didn't it?
It was abysmal. Yeah, it was.
You could say job done, right?
No, yeah, you can. And like I say, the players were on board with it. They were obviously our players. You know, they were all putting in good performances. So they'd bought in. Even Paqueta, who I'll be honest with you, I thought he looked fucking lost in that first half. He got better as the game went on, but I don't reckon he's ever been asked to do a job like that before. Personally, I don't reckon he has.
He probably hasn't. He didn't see the ball hardly at all in the first half, and we started getting the ball to him a lot more in the second half, and he showed us a bit more of what he can do with it.
Yeah, he did. What were your thoughts on the first half, Grant?
So when I saw the lineup, I assumed we were going to go 4-2-3-1, and then when I turn on, we're basically playing 5 at the back, and Emerson's at left centre back, and Fornals is an orthodox left back, and we're just literally set up as a line. Yeah. I was like, this is weird. I'm like almost expecting it to just be situational, and that's just kind of how we stayed with it. But that then allowed Cucurella and Reece James to just have tons of space on each flank, and then it was basically, you guys can come forward, no problem, but we don't think you can get past us. It was just very, very odd. And then you're absolutely right. Paqueta It's just he's up there. I mean, it was a 5-2-3 because he kind of joined Bowen and Antonio. And yeah, there was no possession. We don't have the ball. He can't do anything with it. Every time he did get it, he looked tidy. You're like, oh yeah, this looks good. But again, nowhere really to go.
No.
Just a very, very negative performance. So yeah.
Yeah, that what you highlighted there, because like I say, when I mentioned earlier on, it doesn't really matter about the shape, what shape we play. You play whatever you want to see on paper. It's the mentality of the performance. The fact is, like you just said there, we set up with a back five. That doubling up on Reece James, I mean, are we honestly saying that we don't trust Emerson to be able to sort of nullify the threat, to actually put two fucking players marshalling a wing back? I know he's a decent player, but
showing these teams far too much respect. I mean, without a doubt, we're showing them too much respect. I mean, Moyes, just starting to think this. I mean, Moyes likes being the underdog. He likes being the backs against the wall team who have to go to a place like Chelsea and batten down the hatches and try to nick a point, right? Which is effectively what he tried to do in that first half. We haven't talked about the second half yet, but that's what he tried to do in that first half. So I think he's in strange territory in Moyes because he's got options. He's kind of afraid to use them. He still wants to go. He still wants to play the way he feels most comfortable with playing.
Yeah, no.
And look, we're going to come and talk about this later. I don't know whether that's Moyes just stuck in his ways. It's something that he can't fix. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you remember when he went to Man United, what did he do? He bought Fellaini.
First thing he did was he bought Fellaini in.
Yeah, he tried to replicate how he played at Everton at Man United. So.
I know. Yeah. It is a frustration.
You know what you're getting with him.
Yeah, look.
He is what he is.
Whatever happens, however this season plays out, personally, I'm frustrated. We'll talk about it later, but I am frustrated. I do still want him to succeed. I would like him to all of a sudden flip a switch and change his mindset. Because I just think he's getting more and more cautious. I think now this additional pressure, where he's not the underdog anymore, and he's almost expected to achieve, is making him worse. He's kind of he's paralysed a little bit. But anyway, look. First half, you could say job done. All of us would have taken 0-0 at half time. Whatever, shit game up to that point. He did come out, Gary, didn't he? And we were a little bit more expansive in the second half.
From the kickoff in the second half, we were on the front foot and we were going forward. We started to get Paqueta involved, and we pushed. We started to create one or two little half chances. It was much better. That's all I can say. Much better.
It was better. I mean, like I said, we did have some pretty good chances in that game. We'll get on and we'll talk about the individual players. We won't do player ratings today. We'll get onto the other topics. We'll quickly talk about them, but I'm not going to do a player rating screen on that. But yeah, it was. I thought it was much more encouraging in the second half. I mean, it's obvious what Moyes' game plan is now, and that is, I hope it isn't a stock game plan, and that is to only play a team for 45 minutes, is to kill the game for 45 minutes and then try and win it in the second.
Smash and grab, isn't it?
Yeah, because like I say, we did it against Villa. We'll see as the season goes on whether that is going to become the way. I don't know. Well,
but people will hate it if that becomes the way. I mean, people will reluctantly accept it against a team like Chelsea.
Yeah.
And they would reluctantly accept it last week against Villa because we were so desperate for a win.
Yeah.
But going forward, next couple of games, for instance, Everton and Newcastle, or Newcastle and Everton, people are not going to accept us sitting back at home against Newcastle.
No, not at all. Not in any way. And the frustrating thing is, Grant and Gary, you'd have to agree now. We do. I know we've got a few injuries, but arguably what that's done is that's kind of forced Moyes into probably picking a better team, because there's some of his favourites that have been injured, i.e. Cresswell and players like that. So I think we've got the personnel now to play a different way. I think we've got a ball player at the back in Kera. We've got Rice Souček seems to have found his form again. He's been very good for the last two games. Rice has been fucking imperious for the last two. He was brilliant against Chelsea, really, really good. I think Paqueta is quite clearly an amazing player. And we've got these options up front. We've got various very good options up front. I don't think that we have to adopt that style of play anymore. Personally, I don't.
I think there are certain players who are undroppable, right? Fabianski is one of them. He's never going to be dropped, right?
Yeah.
Bowen is another one. He'll never be dropped, no matter how badly he played, and he's not getting any better, is he?
No.
You know, Fornals. I love Fornals, right? But he will never be dropped. Moyes will always find a position somewhere in his team, whether it's left wing back, whether it's left wing, whether it's centre. You know, where he will prize him in somewhere, right? And that leaves very few berths for the new players. So Scamacca's competing with Antonio up front because, you know, that's the way we want to play. We're never going to play with two up front. Paqueta, it's either Paqueta or Benrahma, not two, not both of them. Right?
It can't be both, which is a shame. And the thing is, Gary, as good as Scamacca is, I mean, Scamacca is a better striker than Antonio, but I don't think Scamacca is a better Antonio than Antonio. And in this system that we play, I think it's kind of custom made for Antonio.
But if we're going to shape the team around Antonio out-muscling defenders, then there'll be no use for Scamacca.
No.
There'll be no use for him at all, because when we play Scamacca, and this is what I kind of hope, you see, this is where part of me is saying, be patient, Gary, because it's early days. We only signed these players in the last couple of weeks. Scamacca might have got a run out of Chelsea with Paqueta had he not been ill all week. I don't know, right? But Paqueta, you know, he's quite an impatient player, right? Quite an impatient personality. So I don't think it's going to be long if he's not being used in the right way before he loses his shit, right?
I think he'll start to he'll develop a mutiny from within his own team. There'll be sections of that squad that will rise up against him.
This is the problem he's got, right? Is that he's bought, rather than buying 2 players, 3 players, which is his usual style. When you buy 2 or 3 players, you can bury them. And not even use them. And they're not going to say anything because they're the minority of the squad, right? Now he's signed 8 largely big names. You can't ignore them.
With all due respect, Gary, I think a lot of them, you know, at least 6 of them have probably got to walk into that first team.
Well, yeah.
They're first team players. So in that sense, he's great. He's done great business, but now he's just got to use them. He's got to find a way of using them.
He's got to help himself, which is what we've been saying all along, right? None of us, I mean, me especially, I'm not Moyes out in any way, shape or form, right? I just want him to improve. And use the options that he's got available to him. That's all I want from David Moyes. I don't want anything else. I don't want miracles, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect us to start playing like knocking it about like Manchester City, but I do expect us to play a more attacking formation and start going for teams because we have the tools to do it now.
Yeah, no, I know. It is frustrating. But anyway, look, moving on into the further on into the second half. Obviously, we got our goal. It was kind of out the blue, really. It was. Paqueta won the header, didn't he? The initial header, big fucking looping header that the keeper failed to deal with. Declan Rice knocks it back in. Goalmouth scramble. Antonio's in. Beautiful.
The thing from that was our first real pressure as well, wasn't it? Because it was back-to-back corners, and we were actually putting them under pressure, and so it does show that we are capable of pressure in the big side. So, it's kind of unfortunate that it took us to that point. Good scrappy goal, but is what it is, isn't it? They all count, so yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, I don't care about the fashion of the goal. I was over the moon at that point because I'll be honest with you. I was feeling very negative at that point after having watched that first half. I was sort of fucking.
Did you feel it was a fair score at the time though? Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't think we really deserved it.
We didn't deserve to be in front.
It was a smashing grab. There's no two ways about it. You know,
they had like 10 corners before that, like you said, Nick. Like before our first goal, they'd already had 10 corners. One of my notes I wrote was they're going to score eventually if we're not careful because you can't keep conceding corner after corner. But then we go and do a back-to-back corner, and then boom, we've gone and done
it. Gary, we'll go through the chat in a minute. You can run through the comments in a minute after this section. Yeah. We weren't deserving of that goal, but look, that's kind of how it works sometimes, right? And that's what I'm saying. People were saying, you know, it was a very kind of, if he'd have pulled it off, it would have been a Mourinho masterclass, that type of thing. But we were playing against a team that they've got weaknesses at the minute. As star-studded as they are in their lineup and everything else, they've been beat by Leeds, they've been beat by Southampton. They're looking shaky. The manager's probably a little bit on the ropes because even though it's a new regime there, I don't think any manager is ever too far away from being sacked at Chelsea, are they?
Have you seen the clip of him when Gallagher doesn't do what he's supposed to do? And Tuchel has an absolute meltdown. Makes it quite clear that he's furious at the mistake Gallagher's made. Yeah, so he's feeling the pressure. He's probably
massively.
He's on, he's on top for him, isn't it?
I think they set up. I think that almost they set up quite negatively in that first half. I think I don't think they had enough creativity on the pitch. There was all fucking defensive midfielders, 3 centre backs, 2 central defensive midfielders, and I don't think they had enough. Well, they didn't have enough to break down our roadblock, our 170 million Bugatti bus that we just parked in front of our goal. They couldn't break it down. So it had to change in the second half.
I think it played out the way I expected it to play out. I did a sort of a preview, a mini preview on Friday, and after watching some highlights from previous Chelsea games and listening to Chelsea fans, and it's pretty obvious that going forward they were too intricate. They were missing the target man, right?
Yeah.
They were just trying to walk the ball into the goal, and it just weren't working for them. And when you watch them against Southampton and the previous games as well, you realise that defensively they were there to be got at. So I'm just and we showed with the corners they were really tame at defending the corners, especially the keeper. And then because they conceded from a corner, almost directly from a corner against Southampton the other night. A ball headed back and a player completely unmarked on the edge of the box. Pretty similar to the way the ball fell to Max Cornet later on in the game with us, right?
Yeah.
So they were there. They were shambolic when you went at them. So I do think it was an opportunity missed.
It was an opportunity missed. It was.
You won't have Chelsea in that sort of vulnerable position very often.
There's a lot of people that will look. Don't get me wrong. If you're going up against prime Man City or prime Barcelona or prime Chelsea when they're flying, I can understand trying to, as you said, batten down the hatches and just trying to stay alive. That wasn't the case against them. It was never going to be, and so it proved in that first half. It was, like you say, it was a missed opportunity. But then obviously they. What happened next? Because we went 1-0 up, and then Moyes made a change, didn't he? He took Antonio off.
He did. He made the most ridiculous substitution I've ever seen.
What was that all about?
He replaced Antonio with Ben Rama,
who offers no muscle up front on his own.
No.
Go on, mate.
Go on, Grant. Go on.
No, I was just going to say, I thought that was because he was doing the thing where Paqueta was in the middle, Antonio would be out left, Bowen was out right for the press, and that was kind of how we were trying to press up and put them under pressure. And it was almost like he thought, well, if I take Antonio off, I can stick Ben Rama on the left. He can just do this press that we're trying to put onto their back three to try and nullify them, because they were doing nothing in the midfield. It was almost like he figures, well, 1-0's enough. We might get something out. Paqueta might do something amazing. We might get a goal that way. But you are right. When he seems so married to the Antonio, that system we've played for so long, it was odd that with no striker, I just assumed Antonio is getting 90 minutes. And Scamacca, he's hoping Scamacca will be back for Thursday, and I can rest Antonio then. But it is
I'll be honest,
an odd one.
Antonio, that's probably one of the best games that you'll see from Antonio. He was fired up. He was having a fucking fight with them centre backs. With who's the big bloke who should have had about 15 yellow cards in central midfield?
Loftus-Cheek. Yeah, he should have gone.
He should have gone.
Yeah, he blatantly elbowed him.
He was properly getting stuck into him, Antonio. He was up for it. Yeah. And to take him off and put Ben Rama up there, not criticising Ben Rama, but he can't do what Antonio was just doing.
No.
That was like saying, right, we're going to sit back now and try to wait this out, right?
Yeah.
We'll
just press up, and we're not going to attack you. We'll just get
And he brought Ogbonna on as well, which was kind of which was obviously trying to really.
He took Paqueta off, didn't he? He took Paqueta off. When did he take him off?
Was it before they scored? I think it was, wasn't it? I think he made the change. We was 1-0 up. I'm sure Antonio. So we might get corrected in the chat, but I'm sure they came off. We changed shape. Then they scored, and then we was like, oh fuck, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Obviously, we've lost our attacking threat then, and then he brought Cornet on, didn't he, towards the end, which was it after they scored their second goal?
Yeah,
No,
we
it
were
wasn't.
1-0 up when
No,
Ricky
no.
got taken off. Yeah.
Yeah, it was 1-0 up, but then obviously Cornet came on, they got their second goal.
Yeah.
And then we went straight up the other end and scored, didn't we? Because Cornet missed a sitter, didn't he? Cornet
That was
missed an
Cornet's
absolute sitter.
first touch. Was that header, right?
Yeah.
That was that header. So that would have put us
That
2-1.
header just curls, doesn't it?
What
He
a
hits
ball,
it really
Benny.
well because he's coming away, doesn't he? He's coming.
Yeah.
You know, he moves, gets a good contact on it. His momentum's taken the other way, and you just watch it from behind as it just goes straight onto. Couldn't have gone. You know.
I know.
Just fractions, isn't it?
How good was the work from Benny on that left hand side though, and that ball in?
Yeah, brilliant.
It was
Brilliant.
unbelievable, wasn't it? You know, and like I say, it was just nice. It was refreshing to have in Benrahma and Cornet. What we appeared to have was two hungry players. Now, obviously, Antonio's hungry, but Bowen, he's been looking so. Don't know.
Limp.
He's limp. Like, I wouldn't even say I wouldn't say he's been terrible and making mistakes, but there's just not really been anything there.
I think flaccid. Flaccid.
Flaccid, yeah, he has been. He has been limp, yeah. But who would you rather have, honestly, at the moment? On the right, would you rather have Cornet or Bowen at the minute?
It speaks for itself. But Bowen is having a mare. So I would, for that game on Thursday, especially, I want to see Benrahma on the left and Cornet on the right, without a shadow of a doubt.
I suspect we will as well. I think we will on Thursday.
But all that says to me is that they won't play on the weekend.
Not necessarily, because it was when Skamaka scored against Viborg, he did start the next Premier League game, right? So listen, that's what he says to you. I am just hoping, because I'm ever the optimist. I'm just hoping that Moyes sees things in those games and uses those games, because those European games are actually perfectly timed at the moment. When you're trying to bed a load of new players in, they're perfectly timed as long as you stay away from injuries. So that's come at a really good time for us, having this game on Thursday before the game on Sunday.
I know it has, but I mean, I'll give you an example as to how bad I feel the situation is with Moyes and his favourites, and that is Fabianski had a stinker in that game. He did. He was shit. Let's be frank. Areola could put in a world class performance, pull out 15 world class saves on Thursday, keep us in the game. Is he going to drop Fabianski for Areola on the weekend?
No, like I said, there are certain players who are undroppable, and Fabianski's one of them.
He's not going to.
Fabianski, he's made his decision. He's his number one. That is one problem that Moyes has got, is his pig-headedness, right? Yeah. And when he makes a decision like that, you know, Fabianski's going to be number one all season, right up to the very end. Doesn't matter what Fabianski does between now and then, he will be number one for the whole season.
Yeah, no,
I really hoped when he went off against City that would be the opportunity to change it. And then, you know, and then Areola gives away a penalty, and that was probably the end of it, wasn't it? But
like I say, we got the equaliser at the end. We're going to go on and talk about the VAR decision afterwards. I still, to be honest, I was so frustrated with us in that game that kind of took the polish off of how ferocious my reaction would have been normally to that VAR decision, and I've got more and more angry about that since. Before we go there, let's talk about the 2 goals that we conceded. Right.
I was just going to say.
So
they were poor goals.
They were really poor goals and shouldn't have happened. I mean, the first one.
Bring Luke in quickly.
Yeah. Hello, Luke.
Hello, Luke.
Boys. All right.
You're right.
So we're up to talking about the 2 Chelsea goals. So the first one, it was just a ball over the top. Chilwell ran between the fullback and the centre half. The fullback and centre half, Kera and Soufal, just crashed into each other. Left Chilwell to do literally the only one thing he could do, which was side foot the ball or have a whack at it. He side footed the ball. Fabianski has come charging out of his goal and let it through his legs.
Define charging, Gary. Define charging.
Well, no, look, if he had stood on his line, he would have saved it, right? He didn't really. He didn't have to come out and narrow the angle, because the angle was unnarrowable from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was on the byline.
He took the Katie Price approach, didn't he? You know,
yeah,
it was legs wide open. You know, in you go.
The trouble is, in a game where we sat so deep and we went so defensive and just stood and watched them, we basically watched. It's I can't say his name. The new Cababali came from Napoli. Him, Thiago, ball straight over the top. And you're right. We're all just stood there watching because we're so deep. We're just letting the two centre backs have the ball. Oh yeah, you just have it there because you can't hurt us because you're not good with the ball. They play 1-2, bang, straight over the top, and then you're right. And then we're just like caught flat-footed, and
Yeah,
he's
but
through.
but he goes when he should stay, and he stays when he should go. Because just before their goal, did you see the ball over the top where he just stayed rooted to his fucking line? They just stood there,
and that was where the striker, the big lump, the
Broja.
Albanian, he kind of toe punted it to him, and he dropped the ball.
I know. It was. He had a mare. He had an absolute mare. But anyway, go on, whiz through the game, Gary. Whiz through the next goal, anyway.
So yeah, I mean, the next one was, it was more good work from Broja playing in a winger on the overlap. He crossed to the near post. He got past Soufal with a breeze. Pulled to the near post, and Havertz converted at the near post. So decent tidy goal, but too easy to get a cross in, to be fair.
Yeah, no, it was.
So again, Kababali, I hope you say his name. Him to Chilwell to Broja. And they just move it. But the thing was, Deck was at centre back. So Deck stands there. Soufal is basically dealing with Chilwell and Broja. He goes with one. Deck just stays there and watches them. Then obviously Soufal gets done because he can only pick up one of them. So they just play it past him and they cross it. The ball comes straight across. Deck doesn't even move. What's his name's just stood there. Soucek's just stood there doing nothing. Ogbonna can't handle Havertz, and Zuma stood behind him with nobody to pick up because they didn't have any, because everything had overloaded on that one side. And again, we just stand there, this flat defensive line. They move the ball at such a pace, and then we seem to get cut up. It was just.
You are right. I mean, why especially with Soufal, because I don't think Soufal has stopped a cross in his whole time at West Ham. I can't remember him ever stopping the cross coming in. I'll be honest with you, I can't. He never stops a cross coming in.
It's hard to deal with two players, though, isn't it?
I know, but
you're getting dragged between the two. What can you do?
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was frustrating. To be fair to them, good clean goal, like a training ground goal, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
It was fine. But then straight up the other end, bang, goal, corner, he's in. I was off my seat at that point. I'll be honest.
I jumped off the seat. Yeah.
Drink went everywhere. I was incredibly excited. And then I come back into the room and I see VAR checking goal, and I'm thinking, what the fuck for? There was no one anywhere near him.
I know.
Yeah. So I couldn't believe that. We will go on to that in the next section, VAR. But yeah, look, that's how it finished anyway. That's how it finished. So Luke, gonna give you your little moment now, mate, to sort of tell us what you think about the game. Before we're going to go into the comments after that. Go on, let us know. Go on, get it off your chest, mate. Let us know what your thoughts are.
First of all, how you doing, boys?
I'm good, mate.
You're right.
I must admit, at the time, I've sort of you peed off about sort of in your mind you've been mugged off by VAR and stuff like that, and since then I've microanalyzed it a number of times, watched every YouTube video including yours, Nick, which highlights a lot of things. I think this game actually highlights a lot of more than just us getting a goal conceded. It's highlighted how the Premier League works, it highlighted how Moyes works, highlighted how we concede goals and score goals, etc. And if I'm honest, I'm not going to be on here all night, but there's I could be all night talking about all the little things I discovered. Maybe I'll do segments here and there. I might give you some videos or whatever. But overall, I was actually really pleased with the way we played yesterday against Chelsea. It's not the football that I enjoy. But it is the football that I respect. I don't like the fact that Moyes tends to have this go easy approach on the big teams and try and kill them off maybe in the last minute of the game if we get a counter attack and that. It's not West Ham. The West Ham that I've grown up with Dad supporting everyone is that you go out there, you give them a game. If you lose, you lose. But as long as you give them a game and you have a few goes at goal, that's fine. You can lose 3-0, but as long as you're giving it a go and whatever, then that's fine. But Moyes has got this approach where the number one thing is to keep a clean sheet. It's basically like we're basically a bit more of a technical Allardyce team. This is exactly this.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, so it's basically set up defensive, and if we can get a win, if we can nick a win, fine.
Yeah.
Now that's fine if you're winning. And we
Yeah.
were winning 2 years ago when we qualified
Yeah.
in top 6, and we were doing quite well last year. So fans tend to forgive that, right? And technically, we were 1-0 up yesterday, so we were winning, so it was working to a degree. But what it did highlight for me as well is that, you know, as soon as you bring Cornet on, Cornet almost gets 2 goals immediately as soon as he comes on. And he was only on for 5 minutes. And it puts Bowen, for me, who I love, I think he's a fantastic player, but he isn't hitting anywhere near the levels he was last year. And I think Moyes is maybe going, right, well, he's got a bit of magic in him. So hopefully, if I leave him on, he'll do it in a minute, but he's just not. And the thing that I've looked at, and I thought this to myself yesterday during the game, watching the VAR decision, and I was livid. I was annoyed. I thought they're never going to give this to us because we're just not a top 6 club in their eyes and whatever, right? It's a lot of corruption or whatever. But as Bowen's going over, whether he means it or not, he does leave his foot in.
He leaves a trailing leg.
Right.
He did.
Now, Mendy's been pathetic with the way he's gone down. But again, he plays for a winning team that they do that. You know, I've seen a lot of videos of Chelsea players doing near enough the same thing. There's no pride in it for me, but if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But if you're hurling over someone, don't give your referees an opportunity to give a decision against you. You know, how many other times is Bowen going to jump over someone and lift both legs up just to try and go over? It's a tiny little indiscretions that as soon as he done it, I thought, oh, he's left his leg in. But that's not enough, surely. Surely that's not enough. Surely.
He's given him a decision to make. Yeah.
So
yes.
Mendy's felt it and gone, I'm going to take full advantage of this. I'm going to lay down like they all do, like all players do nowadays. Even we don't do it so much. We seem to be too clean for that.
Antonio definitely would. Antonio would definitely do
Antonio, I actually think should have been sent off yesterday because he was in wrestling Thiago Silva to the ground. That didn't get given. So in a way, maybe it's a bit like Tottenham Wednesday night. We got away with one.
And you got to think Loftus-Cheek should have gone as well. Elbow in the face, second yellow.
I saw West Ham clips video earlier on when Loftus-Cheek was diving in the box and that didn't get given well. And this is the problem. Just my quick point on VAR, right? We're the only, as far as I know, if anyone in the comments can correct me, that's fine. We're the only league in the top leagues to have people tell the referee in a room what to do. Not sure about that one. I think you should go and check it on the screen. Every other league that is in Italy, Spain, France, they let the referee decide. But if the referee thinks he's not sure, and he goes to the screen and checks himself. There's no one in a room in the back with an earpiece.
In his ear, he's got no one in his ear, basically.
It's only if he thinks I want to go to the screen because I'm not sure myself what's going on. The linesman's not telling me anything. I'm going to go love myself because then it's not going. Because then if the referee shit, that's it. You're gonna have to go to the referee. But if the referee's then got someone else going, no, look at that again. But that's someone else's opinion. And they'd only look at the laws. They're not looking at what the referee's deciding.
He wasn't just reviewing a video like in silence. He was standing there. You watched a close up of him having a conversation, nodding along to whoever's in his ear, right? Yeah. And so they're actually doing a running. They're showing him a video and doing a running commentary of it and trying to convince him that they're right and that he's made a fuck up, right? And these referees, they're too embarrassed to go against it because if they do, they can get disciplined. I heard something ridiculous today. It was Mark Halsey, former referee, was on Hammer's chat earlier, and he was going on about Michael Oliver. Michael Oliver was the only referee over this weekend who went to the screen.
First one has done it. I don't think anyone else has done it before.
Who went to the screen and said, "No, I'm sticking by my original decision," and he was bang on. But Halsey said he might get a talking to for that.
Yeah.
So. What's that about it? So is the VAR ref actually in charge then, not the on-screen, not the on-field ref?
See, this is the thing. I don't mind VAR as long as it's used properly. VAR to me is a fantastic tool. Yeah. If it's done properly. When it first came into football, I believe that there was cricket and there was rugby that were trying to say, look, we'll help football because it's worked brilliantly for us. It's worth fantastic. I think in tennis said the same thing with their Hawkeye, whatever they do with the lines. And we, the Premier League, arrogantly went, nah. We know what we're doing. It's our technology. We'll use it how we want to use it because I presume it's corrupt to a level.
Well, I'll tell you what, we know, having watched our club, there's a kind of mid-table, sometimes lower half club, sometimes get relegated over the years. We're not one of the big boys, right? No. And we got frustrated over the years with Premier League referees being biased towards the big clubs. I mean, the amount of I just remember fucking Man United just a couple of years ago. It was a straight red when two players slid in 50-50. Our player got a straight red, right?
Yeah.
Because the other one was like that happened all the time. That shit. And whenever there was something like a debatable offside decision, the benefit of the doubt always went the other way. So when they were sort of bringing in VAR, you're thinking, well, hang on, because some of these dodgy decisions that are being given, now we might see us get the benefit of the doubt. It might level up the playing field a bit, right? But it's been the complete opposite. It's been the complete opposite. What they've actually used technology to do is to reinforce the advantage.
That's exactly what they've done. So
Yeah.
that is all they've done. So they're using this as a tool to manipulate and keep that top six as the fucking top six. That is so blatantly obvious, and they've had to come out now. And what's happened is that decision that they made there, not just our one, but the other one that they made over the weekend as well. All that's happened is the mask has slipped. They've gone too far. It's fucking obvious what they're doing. And
Yeah, but
it
then Brentford and Palace aren't in the top six.
No,
And Leeds and Newcastle got done over. It's human error.
are they just are they just useless then?
Yeah, but they weren't.
Yeah.
They weren't. Those teams
Because they were
weren't
useless.
playing top six clubs, though, were they? Newcastle were playing.
No, that's what I'm saying. Palace and Brentford aren't top six. So I don't think it's a top six bias. I think the top six create more chances. They have the better players. They have the more high probability chances. They're involved in more incidents. Therefore, they get more decisions made for them. But it's poor across the thing. I think if we were seeing that the top six were getting loads of dodgy ones and nobody else was, then I would say that would be fine. I just think everyone's just. I think it's just the whole reason we got VAR is because we said the refs weren't good enough, and so Luke's absolutely right because what we said, what we've done is gone. You're not good enough, but what we'll do is one of you can go up there and watch it on the video, and then we'll have two of us.
I'll give you one piece of information.
And Hardy.
Let me give you one piece of information, right? There was a World Cup tournament, and I think it was like either the last one or the one before last, right? 0 English Premier League referees got invited to that World Cup, right? 0. Now we've got a World Cup coming up in Qatar, end of this year. Like it or loathe it, right? 0 of our VAR referees are being invited to that tournament. That shows how good our VAR referees are. Right.
Yeah, and we saw at the Euros, didn't we? How quickly they made all their decisions super quick. Yeah. They had a quick look, said yay, nay, and moved on. That was it. They don't have 3 minutes deliberation.
But don't you think when a club, a country like England, who invented the game in the first place, right? Is there some people see it as our game, whatever, right? For us to be so insulted that not to have none of our referees invited to a World Cup, that should have made us look at ourselves and go, you know what, we're a bit shit. We need to buck our ideas up.
Speaks volumes.
But you know that's the arrogance of it because they go, well, we don't need the World Cup, we don't need the Euros, we got our Premier League, we got our multi-billion pound. But so you lot with your World Cups doesn't matter to us because we've got our multi-billion pound Premier League. I know plenty of people who I've worked with who have. I don't know, they're from a different country. They might be from Poland or from Spain or whatever, and they support Barcelona or they support teams teams from around other countries. And I'm a season ticket at West Ham, so they asked me where you going this weekend. And I said West Ham, and so can you get some tickets? I said, why would you want to come to West Ham when you support Barcelona? He goes, oh, it's the Premier League. It's the Premier League. I just want to see a Premier League game, and it's like it honestly. But me as a supporter of being maybe slightly uneducated, I find that baffling how you could, if you wanted to, possibly go to a team where you grew up, you support, but you'd rather go and watch a Premier League just because it's the league that you find exciting, which is that's football,
weird.
I suppose.
It is bizarre. Weird. It is bizarre. Right, Gary, do you want to run through some comments? We've been neglecting our
bloody hell, yeah.
Go on, just whiz through them. So,
okay, right. Let's put my glasses on because I can't see a bloody thing. Result, the score 20%. David Moyes 80% down to the officials. Yeah, probably right. I kind of agree with what Luke said actually, and I said this after the game, and you disagreed with me, Nick. Was that I thought it was actually a decent performance for what it was.
No, it was a decent performance from the players, but and it was almost perfectly executed, and I said that. Yeah. But do I like that style of play? No, I don't.
No.
I don't.
Proper sarcasm from Ryan here. Big up 4 wins in 2022 against teams that are bottom 3 defenders, contenders.
Got to win them. You got to win them.
You got to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Moyes out.
We also beat
It's clearly true.
Leon and Sevilla in 2022.
We did.
None of us were complaining when we were getting to it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
Sevilla
They
and
ain't
Leon
gonna
will
sack
compete in
Moyes.
relegation then.
This is interesting, right? They're not going to sack Moyes because of the backing they've given him. You know, now I'm Moyes in, but I think the opposite could be true, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're looking around for new managers are out there on the market, or perhaps we're going to attract a good manager from another club, that manager will look at West Ham and look at the squad.
Our group of players.
Our group of players.
Any manager will want to come in and pick them up. Anyone.
And
would.
he'll kind of look. He'll make his decision based upon that. Can I do something with that set of players?
Yeah.
Right.
This is. I'm telling you now. I don't think this is
Yeah.
a Moyes. I don't think this is a Moyes squad of players.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it. I don't think it actually is.
I'd caution on that.
Squad. A great squad.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm not really sure who you would think we're going to get in that's going to be noticeably better than Moyes.
Potter.
Well,
No.
Cool.
is
Yeah.
Pochettino still available, isn't he?
He is still available. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Right, so Pochettino.
Thing is, we all smirk at that and we all think, oh, no way, we're going to get Poch. Why not?
Yeah.
Why are we going to get Pochettino?
Pochettino.
Cool. Pochettino, who failed at Spurs, failed at Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah.
I know, but we all say
He's a serial loser.
Yeah,
how is he better than Moyes? He's the only man.
Yeah, but Grant, you say he's a serial loser.
He couldn't win it. He couldn't win in France in a one-horse race. He was on the one horse and he still lost.
Yeah, but that's a different type of job.
How...
It's a different type of job.
Yeah,
he's dealing with Neymar and people like that.
Come on, the four of us could take turns at that. We couldn't do much worse. I do. Seriously.
What I'm saying
Honestly.
is, I was using Pochettino as an example.
I'll be honest with you. If you're referring to a serial loser, is what we've got.
Oh,
he's finished. His average finish at Everton was 7th. He finished 7th at United.
Is that success, Grant?
At the budget he had at Everton, it was unbelievable. He took Everton to the Champions League.
But what I'm saying is we can't not take someone on like people like Potter because he's with Brighton. He's got no fucking budget, and look at what Potter's doing.
Yeah, but Potter won't leave Brighton. He's got him in too good a position at the moment. If he started losing, it's different. The one thing I would say, Grant, I know what you're saying about serial loser, right? But no one wanted to touch Moyes until we touched him when he come in to take over.
Absolutely.
So every club.
I don't even think we could get Pochettino because I don't think Pochettino. I don't think we shop in those locations. Pochettino coming down to us.
Grant, did you think that we'd sign Paqueta?
No.
So what? Paqueta that failed at AC Milan and then went to Lyon. Come on, no. Listen, let's be careful. Let's not overestimate that French league. That French league is not good.
He's a Brazilian international. He's done it at international level as well.
Yeah. So look,
I'm not knocking Paqueta. I'm just saying.
Are the referees
he's been playing in France?
Are the referees incompetent or corrupt?
Both.
Incompetent.
I think there's a mix, right? I think there's a mix.
Yeah, I think there's another word that's missing there as well.
Pressure is definitely on Moyes. And Moyes, if we lose to Newcastle after the money that's been spent, for the record, I want Moyes in charge, but he needs to turn it around. Yes, he does. Yeah, he does need to turn it around.
Do you put this to the viewers or whoever, or you guys as well? Yeah. In a way, it's kind of a poison chalice buying all these players because this is very unlike Moyes, right? I think even when Everton were doing really, really well, he didn't spend this amount of money. This amount of money isn't there. So the owners are going, look, we can get rid of him anyway because if we've given all this money, it's a great excuse to say, right, he hasn't done that well with it because when you think about it, he's got all this money that I've never known. But how much did he spend when he was at Man United? I don't think he spent that much.
Not much. He bought Fellaini and Mata. So he spent 30 million on each. He spent 60 million.
He made sure he went and got Fellaini first, though, didn't he?
Yeah.
Just go and grab him.
I think he's a bit scared with this squad. I think he's bought a load and gone, hold on, what do I do with this? Plus, he feels like he's got to stay loyal. And the owners are going, we're in a win-win.
Luke, I've got another theory. Right, do you know what my theory is? He hasn't bought these players. There was a massive meeting just after the transfer window started, after we signed Aguirre, because of the failure in January. I think David Moyes has been purposefully holding us back because he's happy existing as the overachiever. I don't think he wanted all of these players. I don't think he did.
So
And I think what's happened is Kretinsky, Sullivan, everyone's because there is no way he signed off on these players. I don't see it. We've got a 35 million striker in Skimaka. I don't think you're going to see that much of him.
See, this is where me and you come apart. Our opinions come apart because I agree with you that Moyes has some limitations and stuff like that.
I don't think he's spent all this money, Gal.
Hang on, let me finish. Do I think he's deliberately holding us back? No way. No way. He wants to be successful. But perhaps,
why does he refuse to make
be.
any changes? Why does he refuse to make changes to his team?
You know, perhaps he is just a person who is set in his ways and we've seen it from him already, right? It will only change what he considers to be a winning team when it fails miserably for an extended period of time. He tries the same thing again and again and again, right? But he's never been in this situation before where he's had options. Right.
No.
And he's got a load of players, and there will, if he doesn't use them and use them correctly, there will end up being a mutiny in there. I'm sure the owners will be watching how he uses that investment as well, because that is a big investment for us. So yeah, he will be feeling the pressure. I mean, he lost his shit with a journalist. I mean, not massively, but he got really spiky with a journalist earlier in the week who said to him, "What do you think about your new £50 million signing, Paqueta?" And it was like, I wish people would stop talking about the money. It's not about the money. You know, it's like he didn't want. It's like he was embarrassed to talk about it, and then he went on this little mini rant about how football's all about money now and stuff like that. It was as if he resented the money that we had to spend to bring those players in.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying to you, Gary.
He's in denial if that's the case. He's only at West Ham because of the money, right?
Yeah. Look,
you not think
I think David Moyes is happy where we have been for the last 2 years. I think he likes that. I think he likes to be like he was at Everton for fuck knows how long. He likes to be just underneath, overachieving all the time. With this type of investment, he's no longer expected to overachieve. He's now expected to achieve. Yeah, there's a difference.
There was two. I'll let you do this comment if you want. And
this is a good one, Luke. You can take this. They will sack Moyes. So if we lose on Saturday, it could be 1 win in 7, possibly 8 if we didn't get anything at Everton either.
Yeah.
When do you think the point is where the board are going to get upset with him?
Upset.
Well, as in upset enough to make a change.
I think they'll be upset already. You've got to be honest.
I think there's a certain amount of leeway because I think he had his targets, his main targets. I think they were very well documented who they were, and he hasn't really got any of them. All these players we've signed, no matter how good they are, have been the second or third choices because the first choices wouldn't happen for whatever reason. Newcastle, we got on, then it's the next game, isn't it? I think we got them at home right now. They are a completely almost right on a level of where a club's got investment. The manager they've got wasn't the one they wanted. They wanted Unai Emery, and he turned around and said, "I'm not going to be your manager if you've already managing someone else, i.e. Eddie Howe." Eddie Howe got the job, and Eddie Howe done a very David Moyes job in that he brought players in that weren't superstars that he could have brought in because he had the money to do it. He had the investment in there. Yeah. He went and brought players that he knew would keep Newcastle up. And then what he's done with that is he hasn't gone out and bought world superstars, in my opinion. I think Isaac is probably the only one who's really world superstar-ish because he's well known around Europe, right? But he's got that team working as a team, like Moyes did when he first got us, kept us up and then pushed us on from there. And depending on where we go in Europe, I think if he hadn't got Europe this year, it would have been a completely different story because domestically we're okay, but to be in Europa League and get as far as we did last season, that's a bit of a name in Europe. That's why players have come to us this season because they know really they don't want to be in the Conference League, but it's some sort of Europe and it'll get their name out there. So in a couple of years' time, if they really play really well, Liverpool, Man United, Arsenal might come in for him or something like that, right? Yeah. We the owners want us to be there. They want us to be challenging for top 4 every year. That's why they're giving in this investment. Now, if Newcastle in the next few weeks, they drew on Saturday 0-0 with Palace, who are also playing quite well at the minute, but they're looking impressive. They're looking like they're not stopping anytime soon. The players they've got are reliable and they're also doing a job. Now, they could be like us and kind of slowly gravitate towards the top. They could finish in top 6 this year if they really wanted to. I think they're playing that well. But it's going to be mirror image. Now, depending on how well they play against us when they play us on next Sunday, it's going to be like, well, Newcastle in a very short space of time are making us look like we're either stagnating or we're falling down the order. For me, I think a big highlight and where we're going is the fact that Cornet come on with 5 minutes and done more in 5 minutes than Bowen did the whole game. And now that is going right. Cornet's the new signing. He's the man who's going to take us. He's one of the signings that's going to take us forward. And he could have scored 2 goals in the time. It's cool. If Cornet starts, he will score goals.
Moyes threw him on purely out of panic.
Exactly. Right. So I honestly,
that's the only reason he threw him on.
I'm a fan of Moyes. I love what he's done with the club. I've got nothing against him at all. The only thing is he frustrates me. He frustrates me because and the problem is I've been in denial a little bit, and everyone has been saying this for the last 6 months because they can see the holes going. I've been going, no, we're still in Europe. You know, the whole reason why we're not doing very well in the league is because we're doing well in Europe. You know, let it go. You know, if we get to the final in the Europa League, got a chance to win a trophy, that's massive. You know, so I can understand it. I think most supporters did. But now, we haven't started brilliantly. We've only got 1 win, and I think we played quite well last few games. The results haven't gone our way.
But the thing is,
it's highlighting things.
But Luke, what with last season, we could afford to prioritise the Europa League because we started magnificently in the league. We were unbelievable, and we gave ourselves a points buffer. You know, which we don't fucking have now. We haven't got that points buffer now, but we gave ourselves a points buffer up till sort of November, which basically enabled us to almost go, do you know what? Let's go for it. Let's focus on the Europa League, and I do think that's what we did. But the only reason we could do that is because we were so good at the start. You have to start well.
My brother said something the other day, and he said that, which kind of makes you think. He said Areola signed this new 5-year deal, right?
It's a weird
surely he hasn't signed when Moyes has gone, look, I know you've just signed, but I'm going to keep Fabianski as number 1 for the league this season.
I'm sure he would never have signed.
You'll get exactly. So this must be some way he's gone, I know what I said at the start, mate, but I'm going to change it around a little bit because Fab's still here and he signed a 1-year deal and I can't really let him down, can I? Let's be honest. So
I think so as well. I think there's a lot in that. As a response to you, Grant, Poch took Spurs to a Champions League final, which they hilariously lost, and I really enjoyed that. But,
I did as well because
a great achievement to get a Mickey Mouse club like Spurs to a Champions League final.
And bear in mind, he did that. Levy never gave Poch a fucking penny to spend.
So, well, I wouldn't agree with that. My point on Potts was they should have won the league in 2016, and they absolutely choked it at the end and let Leicester in. That was
but that's Spurs.
But I mean, it was glorious. But
Mourinho never won anything at Spurs though.
Well, they sacked him before a final, so they were too scared he was going to win.
Yeah.
It's the only club he's never won at, isn't it? That's a Spurs issue. That's not a Mourinho issue. Spursy, but
yeah.
Right. So where are we now? We've kind of we started on VAR, didn't we? Or we've kind of done.
We've done VAR.
Quite,
you let me talk, which is about 5 subjects in one sentence.
There's one thing that I'll just say on that, just to close the topic off, is that VAR has been brought in as an improvement. It's kind of been turned into a tool to help the big clubs. Yep. Financial fair play was brought in as well to help the big clubs who had already established themselves, right? So it kind of prevented other big clubs coming in, right? And this is something I picked up from another little video today. I think it was Nicky Hawkins actually, when he said that little club, that little top 6, that big 6, you know, they protect their little club and they don't want outsiders coming in, which is why it took them 18 months. This is other clubs. It took them 18 months to sign off the takeover of Newcastle, right? Which I find amazing that clubs have got so much power. Surely they should just be, competitors in the league like we are. But no, they call the shots, these clubs, right? And what else have they done?
Is it not similar in Spain, though, Gary, with Barcelona and Real Madrid?
Yes, it is.
They have a lot of say. They have a lot of say.
Yes, it is. And what else happened last season that gave the clubs a massive advantage? And this is a massive advantage that helped Chelsea beat us as well, right? And that is the 5 subs rule.
Yeah.
Right.
I love the fact Moyes was in support of it.
Where did their goals come from? They come from their last couple of subs, right?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's the thing. He just kept on throwing more and more and more bloody talented players until it eventually took.
And that's what they can do. And do you think they're going to stop at 5? Of course they're not. They're going to be up to 7 soon, up to 8. Maybe swap the whole fucking team out half time.
See, that's the thing that still gets me, and I don't know. I think maybe someone said it last season. There is a reason why he does it, but having 2 goalkeepers on the subs bench,
embarrassing.
is for me is 2 fingers up at the youth, And if I remember correctly, when they brought the rule in the first place, they kind of were going, look, you have 3 your main subs, and then 2. Really, they were encouraging the last 2 to be youth players to come on for teams. I don't know how true that is.
Do you know why that is, though? Do you know why that is? Because I personally don't think that Moyes likes to feel the pressure of not bringing players on. So the less players that you've got on the bench that want to get on the pitch, the less pressure he's under to make changes.
I think on that note, there's a couple of comments about me, right? He definitely had options at United, Gary, right? Yes, he did, and I glossed over that deliberately because I knew he had options, and I know he didn't use, and I know he didn't use them. I know he didn't use them, right? I was just being a little bit disingenuous there, and that's what worries me about how he might not use the options. That is the thing that's playing in the back of my mind. I just hope that he does. That's all. I just hope that he does. I hope these have been, you got to bear in mind when he went to Man U, he signed a couple of players, but he largely inherited a squad. Maybe he didn't know how to use all those pieces. This is a different scenario. He's built this squad. Well, hopefully he's built it anyway, pretty much from scratch now, right? There's only a few players left over.
You're doubting yourself now, aren't you?
There's only a few players left over that were here when he arrived, and those players he's largely made good use of, right? So he knows them really well. The ones he's brought in, he's brought players in, he's moved players out. Largely, you can say now that this is David Moyes' squad. You couldn't say that at Man United. That was not David Moyes' squad.
I'll tell you what you could say. I'll tell you you could say just before you go as well. In Moyes' first 2 most successful seasons with us, obviously this might go on to be our most successful season, but he was still working with remnants of other people's squads. Now this is a David Moyes squad.
Yeah.
Doesn't every manager do that to a level, though?
Hey?
Doesn't every manager do that to a level, though? Not every.
I know, but David Moyes did like to sort of reinforce that fact, didn't he? Because he wants an excuse. He's got more excuses than Klopp, hasn't he?
I think nobody's got more excuses than him. What was the video I watched the other day? I think who's the other guy that's on this channel? I don't really know very well. Is it Mike? John. Sorry, John.
Yeah.
He made some good points, and I think it kind of goes under the radar a little bit of how many personalities have left the club within.
That was a good video. That was a good video.
It's not just in the coaching staff; it's on the players that didn't really play much time. So like David Martin and Ryan Fredericks. I didn't think Ryan Fredericks had that much impact, but even when Jesse Lingard left, he said Ryan Fredericks was the man who kept sort of having banter with me and stuff like that, kept me on my toes with where Team Morale was concerned. He'd always make a joke here and there, and then when Moyes is concerned, he started being a bit erratic, I think, towards the end of last season, didn't he? I think when we got knocked out of the Europa League or almost towards that effect. But it did seem strange to me how Stuart Pearce left, and I think he cited that he was too much travel, which is fair enough. That's anyone, wants to spend more time with their family. Alan Irvine leaving, who must be a huge impact for Moyes himself. And then suddenly you get Craig Dawson saying that he's okay. He knows he's put up the players much as he did last season, but saying that he'd like to move closer to home because he's got a lot of travel. There's 2 blokes, there's Stuart Pearce and Dawson, who said that they would rather leave because they're travelling too far.
But why is this? It isn't travel, Luke.
This is what I'm trying to get to. Is going, well, this is called coming out of nowhere, and would they be saying this if we were in the top 4 in the Champions League, playing the really big games and being really successful? It's sort of like, well, it's an excuse to get out. And obviously, we've had a lot more investment this summer compared to last summer. When he was in a bigger competition in the Europa League, and I know people are saying that Newman's had a hand in it because he's the chief scout and he's getting all these players in. Kretinsky's obviously got
all these people you're talking about, Luke, right? Just to interject a little bit, all these people you're talking about, they're all big names with a lot of experience in the game that have got their own thought process, right? Now, you can't tell me that there isn't one person in that backroom staff at any point that hasn't looked at David Moyes picking the same players, playing the same way, and gone to Dave and tried to give him some advice. That must have happened at some point, and it must grow frustrating if it falls on deaf ears. It doesn't look like he accepts consultation from fucking anyone. He can't do, because they can't all think the same. They can't. There must be somebody that looks at that a little bit differently and go, well, Dave, why don't you try this? Why don't you do things a little bit differently? And he never does. So unless he is actually so fucking, it's like a dictatorship there.
Yeah.
I think it is. I think he is the manager, and,
a bit harsh, but
he does everything. Yeah. He does everything himself. I mean, who knows? Who knows? I mean, really, it is his neck on the line at the end of the day, and he will thrive or fail based on the results.
Like he said himself, to be fair.
Yeah.
One thing I must admit, I think he's been chucking Bonner under the bus a little bit last 2 games. I know that he come back and he had games in the Conference League, right? But I looked at that goal yesterday that Havertz scored when Bonner was the man marking him. And again, right, Zuma's a fantastic defender for us when he's heading the ball out and making challenges, but he's the worst player I've known in West Ham for tracking players and tracking runs and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, we are letting a bloke. I know when you're on the field, you're on the field. That's it. Like, you've got to do your job. That's what you're paid to do. If you're injured or not, if the manager's chucked you on, you must be fit enough to play, right? And he brought him on against Spurs, and I thought to myself, it's like at that point, I think Bonner was playing left back or the left of a back three, and I thought it's a lot to ask a guy who's come off a major injury. And then yesterday, he was obviously the guy that was marking Havertz because he was right next to him and he took the shot. And I thought, is it fair? Is that fair to ask a guy who's just coming back, who's
and he had Richarlison against Spurs, didn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, like you say, I mean, Zuma he's got the mobility of an overfilled skip, hasn't he? You know, he's not the quick. I do like him. I like Zuma, but he's like he's running in treacle, isn't it? After time with him, but I thought he was good against. I thought he was good against Chelsea though. He was very good in that game.
But we conceded 2 goals, in my opinion, from players not being tracked. That's what lost us the game.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I know. It is very frustrating. Are there any more? You might as well just whiz through the chat, Gary, and we'll take talking points from that. There's loads,
Areola has to start. Cornet has to start. Skamaka and Ben Rama we've played okay. I can't stand sitting back. Ultra cautious has never worked for a club, and it's boring. Moyes at crossroads. Yeah, I think that's probably a good way of putting it. Actually, he is at a crossroads. Does he take the right turning?
We shall find out.
There's a couple of points on Moyes I realised a little while back. I think he was asked, you know Fabrizio Romano is, I think you guys know, right? Everyone kind of knows who he is, right? He's the man where transfer said. He was asked in the conference, said, Fabrizio Romano has said this about the play you're tracking. What can you say about that? And he was like, who's that? And he said, it's Fabrizio Romano. And, it's a local boy then. It's like, come on, man. Come on.
I know.
No, you got to know you know what I mean?
I don't know. Sometimes I thought he was joking. I thought that was him.
He wasn't, mate.
He plays that.
I don't think he
plays
was joking.
that funny. I don't know. How often do we go into his press conferences and he's cagey and he's like, oh yes, and he'll try and give you disinformation about who's playing, and who's injured and all that, and
that's different to being.
If he didn't have to do that, he wouldn't do them, would he? But he's one of those managers that doesn't enjoy the media stuff. He wouldn't do any of it if he didn't have to. So they go into it.
This is true.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have to answer all the questions. So he gives.
Yeah, this is true. Our whole style last season was to sit back and wait for the game to come to us, and we were good at countering, which dug games out for us a bit. Now that's true. We did give other teams possession, and we did play on the counter. And that is kind of.
I think that's where we've gone wrong, though. I think it's since teams have worked out that if they just sit off,
that's what they've got to do. They sit off.
Yeah.
And that's
and the thing is, Grant, Moyes keeps on bemoaning that, and he's admitted it in press conferences.
Yeah.
He said teams aren't making it as easy for us now. Yet he plays the same way.
Well, he's changed formation though.
For when?
Well, he's gone to 3 at the back now, so that's a change.
No,
yeah, he's a change.
He's done the 3 at the back once against Villa.
Well, he did it yesterday. He did it against Spurs.
At times it was.
Yeah, we flex out depending on possession, out of possession. That's good point. Creative, tactical.
Yeah.
No, it is, Grant. It's perfectly valid. That's a different formation. Whether Nick likes it or not.
His negativity is very flexible.
Whether you like it or not.
He started Skamaka against Villa. Yeah. Skamaka would have started against Spurs, but he's ill.
But Grant, hang on 1 minute. He started Skamaka against Villa, right? He started Skamaka against Villa. He set up in a way where Skamaka weren't even going to get anywhere near that fucking ball. Skamaka saw nothing.
But you say he doesn't change, and then he makes changes.
Advertising balls to spin when he was up front against Villa.
Right.
He had nothing to do.
Nick, back to the comments. Mandy says the only bad result we've had so far is Forest, really. Well, it's Brighton as well. It's Brighton. But then
Brighton was terrible.
And bad performance.
Brighton was awful.
But we know now, I mean, you only have to look at Brighton's results today. They are a serious side. Right,
I must. They are.
And Leicester are a shit team as well. I think Rodgers is going to get sacked.
Yeah,
Ethan needs to. He's overrated for me. Vastly overrated manager for me.
Kehrer is the next Noble in the changing room. Everyone's impressed with him. You noticed how much he talks, and he seems
I
to
like
be.
him. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Apparently, he plays right back for Germany. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he does. He's played 35 times for Germany, 25 times at right back.
So, but basically means that he's a right back that we're playing the centre back.
I think so.
They often, well, because Germany play that weird Bayern Munich system where they'll play like Sane and Gnabry as sort of left, really wide left, right, and then they can switch. The Germans will switch into a back three as
And
well
they
if they want
do
to,
play a back three. You're right. Yeah.
or they'll then split out
Yeah.
a four. Yeah.
Moyes' contract expires at the end of the season. You know what that tells us? It won't cost much to pay him off.
Or just let him go. Well, I don't want people to get the impression that me personally, I'm Moyes out. I'm not Moyes out at all. I'm annoyed with him that he's letting himself down, and I think that there is an arrogance to how he's going about his game, and I can see the thing is I can see why he's doing what he's doing. I can see it. Okay, like I can see why you're playing the same team. I can see why you're loyal to these players. I can see it. But can you just not? Can you just? And then it's like, and then you think, well, yesterday was a perfect point.
Yeah.
He's made a few decisions in this. If it hadn't been for a poor referee decision, we would have got 2-2, and we'd be talking in this video a lot differently than we actually would do. Because
100%. Look, it's a results-based business. And like you said earlier on in the video, Luke, when you play this way and you get a result, it's tolerable.
Yeah.
It is, you know. If you don't, and we haven't been getting results in the league since Christmas time, really.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we haven't been, and it is different. I know it's a new season now.
Right. My worry is this: Moyes doesn't like flair players.
No,
right?
he doesn't.
And you know,
look how he treats Ben Rama.
Yeah, but there was one time he did like a flair player, and that was Jesse Lingard. He fucking adored Jesse Lingard. He brought him in and gave him the freedom of the pitch. Freedom of the pitch. He didn't have to defend. Just gave him the ball. Everyone get the ball to Jesse. Let him see what he can do. That is what we should be doing with
give it to Abusi. He was give it to Abusi, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But that's what we should be doing with Paqueta. We should be using Paqueta like that. That is, you know, Paqueta. I think if Moyes could play him at centre half, he would.
Yeah,
everyone at centre half. Everyone can convert to centre half. They'll do it.
Yeah,
we just get a penalty. We just get it for corner. That's fine.
Rush goalie.
Yeah. he played well yesterday with the Paqueta, with the role he was clearly told to do. He done very well.
I basically said we've signed a master craftsman to sweep the floor.
Yeah, I saw that, and I quite like that idea.
Yeah,
Ben Johnson's doing that role now.
He's labouring. He's humping shit up and down the stairs. He's not doing anything else. That's what he's doing.
Because I didn't know much about Paqueta. I'll be honest with you. I'll just make this point quickly because I know I'm dragging on a little bit. But when he played this against Lyon, I don't remember him playing against us. I'll be honest with you. I remember Frankfurt when Kostic and Kamada from Frankfurt. I remember them two solidly because they completely ran us ragged. Right. The only one I remember from Lyon was Dembele purely because of the week and the penalty. Right. I don't remember Sevilla come to they might have even just stayed in Spain because they were never going to score against us in a million years. So that whole trio of clubs, when we said Paqueta, everyone around me is going, he's a brilliant player, he's amazing, he's this, he's that, thinking, I've no idea who he is. And I think he's cost 60 million. I'm thinking, right, do you know what? I've got to trust Moyes and whoever's brought him in. He's gonna be the new Payet. The thing about it is no one knew who Payet was when he came to West Ham. Everyone was like, who's this guy? You know, and then Wenger said he'd been after him, but he didn't want to go because of his mentality. We got him a good year and a half out of him before he left, but no one knew about him. We got him for 10 million, and everyone go, "Oh, who's this Payet? Where's he come from? Why has he not been playing for a top club for the last 5 years?"
Yeah.
And they'll see reasons why. And then we got this Paqueta, who everyone knows about. I'm being very, very uneducated because I clearly don't know anything about him, and he's really, in my opinion, is coming with the wrong manager. I'm hoping he proves me wrong. I hope he proves me wrong on all this, and I'm sitting here in 5 videos time, if you allow me again, because I'm waffling on again. But we're talking about him, and do you know what it is? It's because I've got something to say.
This is what I hope as well. This is what I hope. I hope that David Moyes will realise what he's got on his hands. You know, is very highly rated.
I think he does. I think
everyone I've heard. I mean, he wouldn't have walked straight into the team otherwise, right? So I am hoping that Jesse Lingard type role will be Lucas Paqueta's role.
Moyes has spoken highly. He's spoken almost, gooey-eyed about him in press conferences, which is encouraging. That says to me that he does see him potentially as that Lingard character, who maybe he will give the keys to the London Stadium and say, just fuck off, go and do your thing, have a free roll, make shit happen. I hope that's what we see.
He's made me feel quite uncomfortable because Moyes, he doesn't smile very often, and a couple of times he was asked about Paqueta, he gave a smile which was a little bit creepy, and I just wondered whether Dave had a semi when he was talking about Paqueta.
He did, yeah, I think so.
Let's go for a few comments. So when Antonio starts in the team, we go to the same old tactics. Yeah, true, true, but that's not Mickey's fault, right?
It's not Antonio's fault.
Yeah. I know that's probably not what you're saying, RJ, but we all want to see this adventurous lineup with all these great new players. We'll see. If Allardyce comes back, we'll be used. Oh no! Wait till we play
a couple of wingers if he's coming back.
I'm going to make a point in a second, but just carry on. It's fine.
Wait till we play the lesser teams. You've judging by Chelsea way. Yeah, I accept that. We've been performing bad since after last Christmas. Yeah, apart from the European games. Lingard's got something on Moyes. Yeah, maybe he has. Right, what else we got here? We got very lucky last season. Found a way to win games, even though we played piss poor.
I don't. Hammerhead. Hammerhead. The only thing I will say, right? We were piss poor in the league before Christmas. We were not piss poor at the start of the season. We were fucking brilliant at the start of the season. Then Zuma and Oggy got injured. Then it all fell to pieces. We never recovered it. So we weren't piss poor all last season. We weren't. But we were piss poor for the second part of the season, apart from the European games. I'll give you that.
Well, apart from some, like the Liverpool game. Also, we played well against Man City. Don't forget at the end, we had a couple of decent games.
Yeah.
The ones that were disappointing in the second half of the season were the games that we should have won and didn't.
Arsenal?
Yeah.
Well, Arsenal is just eternally disappointing every single year.
It's so frustrating.
I was saying to me, son Ross, we were watching the game yesterday. I was saying in the first half, we looked tight and we looked quite resolute. And I was saying to him, wouldn't it be nice if we could play against Arsenal like this and stop Arsenal going 2-0 up after fucking 15, 20 minutes like they always do? Why do we always get stuffed by Arsenal?
There's a Chelsea guy in the chat. Look, I want to see. Tuchel out. Look at the profile picture. You guys got mugged off by VAR, but at the same time, Antonio got a little lucky too. But there was a lot of that. I was
going to make this point. I don't know if you guys. I've personally been feeling since the season started that Antonio has got annoyed a lot more than he has done previous seasons. He's been hitting out. He's been arguing with the referee a lot more.
I loved him. Yes, I loved him against Chelsea. I think he was aggressive, exactly what he needed to be. I do.
But he is.
He never gets a foul though. He gets wrestled every game. He gets WWE tactics done.
You are right. I think he was far less petulant yesterday. Do you know when and against Spurs? Do you know like when players are all over him and he doesn't get fouls and he does that stupid like little toddler tantrum where he jumps up and down on his feet and he does that.
Yeah.
That's annoying when he does that. He hasn't been doing that for the past few games.
Yeah, but it's the fact that he was going up to Reece James yesterday after the incident. I know he did 100%. I know he had every right to do it, but the problem is that you're asking yourself then to get, because all it's going to take is a headbutt. All it's going to take is him getting too close. I don't
think Antonio would do that though. I genuinely don't.
We all
think
know
he
him
would.
as that. I'm going to set it out now. My opinion. I'm telling you now. If he doesn't calm down, he's going to get sent off for the next 3 games. That's how I feel about it's getting.
Yeah.
Reece James.
I don't want to take that far out of his belly. I like it. I like him like that.
I like it, but I'm just worried it's going to backfire on him. That's all.
Yeah.
I think you're right. There was a couple of times, but then again, I think you heard the comments that he made after the game where he said that the interviewer said to him, "You seem to just stop appealing for free kicks after a while," and he said, "Well, there's no point. People have been like fouling me for 3 years, and you know, I get hardly any decisions." And he doesn't get decisions, does he?
He gets nothing. Against Spurs, was it Dyer, the centre back that he was having a right tussle with? Yeah. It was Eric Dyer. Dyer was all over him. He got nothing.
That's really childish. Loftus bum cheek.
Yeah.
Really childish, but pleasing.
Right.
Trying to dig through. I don't think there's many more, to be honest.
There's not many more, no.
No.
You've missed loads, Gal.
I have. I've missed loads. Sorry, I'm not usually on the comments. I'm not usually on the comments. You know, I'm putting my glasses on and off because it's terrible. It's usually John. John usually does these, and he's good at them.
What's this? Look, Craven Moorhead. We're too honest. We never go down and dive, etc. Don't get me wrong. I despise diving, especially when it's our team. But look how the rest of them get away with it. Yeah. Look,
We wouldn't know. We wouldn't. If we started doing it, we'd get called up straight away.
It's being good at it though, isn't it? I just don't think we're very good at diving. You know.
I think if everyone else is getting away with it, you've got to do it. It's naive.
Be clever
to not do
about it. You got to use it wisely.
Yeah.
Has anyone seen the video of Vlad and Havertz that came from Facebook earlier? I saw.
No.
There's a bit of a tussle on the sideline, but a bit of throwing, and Vlad's just pushed Havertz in the middle of the back, above the bum.
Yeah.
And Havertz has taken a split second to go. We do it, and he goes, "Hold on, I can go down now." And he went down like that. Even Sterling walked round. Even Sterling walked past him, going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Did you see? Was it Loftus Bumcheek when it? Did you see Loftus Bumcheek when he was in the box and Souček went in for a tackle, but he pulled out of the challenge
and then went down.
He went down. That's that's a yellow card, isn't it?
It is. That's what VAR should be picking up.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly what thing I should be picking up.
Trini Hammer, people complaining about Antonio because he's strong and honest. Just because you don't go down does not mean it's not a foul.
That's
absolutely.
the other one as well.
Bang.
You know what though? I wouldn't be extending the scope of VAR. If you remember back to the Europa League last year, before the game, up on the big screen, they said tonight VAR will only be used for this, this, and this. That was right?
I think this is true. Do you know that? This is true, and this shows you the thing. I don't think this has ever happened before, is it? Lanzini, the only player to be retrospectively banned for diving. That is, I don't think that's ever happened before with anyone else. Only with a West Ham player. Yeah, I know.
Hate us. They absolutely hate us.
Bastards.
Anyone that's playing is corrupt.
Bastards. Okay. Well, look, I think we've done. Obviously, we've done the Chelsea game. We've spoken about VAR. I mean, with VAR. I mean, what? Just say that did happen. You know, for any. Was it us and the Newcastle result decision? Was it those two?
Newcastle, Villa, and
Everton. That they have admitted they made mistakes.
No,
it's just us in Newcastle. Yeah, us in Newcastle.
So what happens if either West Ham or Newcastle either end up getting relegated by 1 point or missing out on Europe by 1 point at the end of the season? If it's basically blatantly obvious that VAR have intervened and forcefully changed the mind of a referee to do something like that, where would we stand in that instance if you're costing the club millions?
Well, we basically get an apology letter and a pen. Yeah, that's basically where it was at.
Really,
Van Dijk. There was Van Dijk did a tackle yesterday on Onana. I think
it was bad. That was bad.
Right.
That was bad.
And they had the Peter Walton, who I think it was, who's in the back room for BT, and the way he was explaining it was the most ring roundabout way of saying it wasn't a straight red, it was a yellow because of this, because of that. But you're thinking, but that leads on to a red card, and you're trying to go, how has he managed to make it sound like it's acceptable when it's basically you could have got any more false than that, you could break a guy's leg. Yeah, and because of Liverpool, it was a terrible challenge. It's mad. It's mad to see what certain teams get away with.
Right, Ken Hammers, if Moyes keeps playing this system with Skamaka in the team, he's going to get compared to Haller. But it's not his fault because he's going to be isolated all the time. Been saying this since day one, since he came in. I get like against Villa. If you bring in these, look, you could bring in fucking Haaland. You could bring in any player, perhaps not Haaland because that bloke's superhuman. But you could bring in any player you wanted. If we just keep on playing the same way and putting different pieces in the same system, the end result is going to be the same.
Yeah,
it genuinely is. We're not. He's got to try and find a new style of playing. Like I said, it's so frustrating because he's even admitted himself that this isn't really working anymore. It's not. That this counter-attacking play, like we said, teams are just sitting off us a little bit now. That's all we've got to do. Just sit off us so we can't get in behind a little bit. You know?
I made the point yesterday that although he's done an amazing job, I mean, I think at some point every fan has to look at it and go, "You've done a fantastic job with the position when you come in." And this is nothing. This is not even a criticism, right? It's a general ability review. How far can he take us? Because nothing wrong with being in Europe every year is great. And look, West Ham fans, as far as I know, I've grown up with, it would never been about winning. We'd love to win a trophy. The FA Cup and the League Cup are right up there. Win them, and then have a stable, finish mid-table, but play really, really good football. And we're easy, right? That's but football moves on very quickly, and Moyes was very good. You could see how good it was when he took over because he knew he had one job to do, and that was it. Keep us up. Bring players like Suchik, and you've got one job and one job only. Get you rid in that box. The ball will come in, head it in.
The running stats are low. Let's get him running. Let's get him running harder.
Exactly. It was all very easy. Now you come to
Yeah.
the point where you're thinking, I've got to get technical now. I've got to get intricate. I've got to change up the training. The training's got to change. The way that I talk to the players has got to change because also he's got to know as well how to connect to these players and go, this is how you create a winning team. And I think it's one thing that you struggle with at Man United because I think Ferdinand said it. When he took over Man United, he brought all his Everton backroom staff in because that's what he knew. That's how he knew to do things, right? And he knew that he was trying to take Everton to where Man United were, and he couldn't do it at that point because of the players and whatever. But Ferdinand, for a number of reasons why, perhaps it's his ego talking, but he was saying that at times Moyes was trying to get through to him what he wanted them to do, but they still had no idea what they were doing. They'd go onto the field and he'd be like, he's just told me the job that I've got to do, but I don't even know. Like it's almost like too basic. Like he needs to say it in a better way. And I think that maybe with all this stuff going on, I looked at yesterday thinking, do you know what? We have played well. We haven't played well enough because we're 1-0 up and we've just conceded to 2 dodgy goals for defending from us. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, I love you, but how much have you got in you? Have you got in this regular European football? Have you got this in you, mate? Because you might be. We've got so many players now. I genuinely think he might be going right. Skamaka and Cornet for Europe, and Bowen and Antonio for the league, and you know.
Dan just killed me. Look, Moyes would have to bed in Haaland slowly if we signed him. You know, how many games would he have played by? Would he have scored 10 goals, or would he have played 10 minutes? I don't know.
Except Paqueta comes off the bench against Spurs in his first opportunity and starts on his second. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. Don't ruin a joke, Grant. Don't ruin a joke.
Apologies.
Right, and this I agree with, and this feeds into what you were saying earlier, Luke, when you referenced John's video, and this is something what I do believe in. Moyes needs to employ a technically gifted coach. Too many of them are just about hard work and running. 100%. He's got to adapt. Look. All great managers. When it even Pep, you know, when Pep had Arteta, he's obviously he's got a new Arteta now. I don't know who it is, but all the great, really successful managers. Fergie had one, didn't he? They've got a real good, strong second man that can kind of that will almost do the thinking for them to a degree. Yeah. And I don't think Moyes can't do it on his own. It's just ridiculous to even want to. That's what I don't get.
Who is his assistant? Who is Moyes' assistant?
Warburton.
It's Warburton now. Like the fucking fucking loaf of bread. He's apparently they don't get on from what I've been told.
God's sakes.
Yeah, no.
That's all we need.
I know. Moyes prefers.
Warburton favours the back three, doesn't he?
He prefers Kingsmill. Moyes apparently.
Yeah. You just wait. That'll be our next manager, Nick. Be our next manager. We would like to welcome our new manager, Mr. Warburton. I'm on a serious note. I don't know anything. I don't. His previous management. I think he's just another. To me, Warburton's just another Championship go around. He's a bit like an Alex Neil or something. He's one of them that just takes any job in the Championship and just gets the promotion and does that. Right, which is fair enough. If it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. One thing I've talked to. I've got a Liverpool fan, a mate of mine, who hates Nunes. Absolutely can't stand him. He thinks he's wasted all the money on Nunes. What's he doing? What's Klopp doing? And Klopp's heralded as one of the most world-class managers in this world, right? And you've gone from Mane, who was ineffectively a small, nippy, really great finisher, one of the best players. He almost dragged Liverpool through games at times with his goals. And you've got to someone who's like Andy Carroll Mark II, who can't hit a barn door, and yesterday was hit a post once from a good save. But I said to him yesterday, why have you bought Nunes when you're trying to replace Mane? He's the complete opposite of the player that Mane was, and it's almost like going. And now looking at Moyes and going, Moyes has signed all these players. You know, I know you live and die by the players you buy, but even world-class manager has got it wrong here. Even he's gone, what have I done here? I'll tell you what really worries me.
Billy McKinley is the assistant manager, by the way. Thank you, Mr.
Apologies. Warburton's the coach, isn't he? McKinley's assistant. Yeah.
Let me just tell you one thing that worries me, and that is the form of Nikola Vlasic over for Torino, right? Because it is Torino, isn't it? Where he's playing for?
Yes.
Yeah. He's been played. He's playing for a Czech manager. The guy brought him in, put him straight in the first team, straight in the number 10 position. You know, playing as part of a 2 behind the front man. He's flourished. He scored 2 goals in 3. Just goes to show that we were playing him on the left wing, you're never going to get the best out of him on the left wing.
No.
I might be wrong. He might have never settled down in the Premier League, right? But
Yeah.
Just goes to show. There's that example. There's the Haller example. You know, these are very expensive players that we've brought in, and Moyes has failed to fit them into our team.
Kent Hammers says, we got an England coach on our backroom team, Paul Nevin.
We do.
And that's it. And he's in charge of a manager who's frustrating and plays the same way and same players and can't win a tournament to save his life.
Fuck me.
Two
inspiring blokes he works for there, isn't he?
He's the set piece coach.
See, there's a danger, by the way. We could end up sacking Moyes and get Southgate
No
in.
fucking way.
Well, careful what you wish for.
I'd rather Warburton. Hang on. Yeah, but you know, I think Liverpool though. Again, I don't know why we're talking about them, but I think they sold the wrong one. I think if it's out of Mane and Salah, should have been Salah all day long. I think Mane did more for the team.
So, yeah, I think why did he leave? The thing, Vlasic can be good in Torino, but you'll have a certain amount of fans, probably quite a lot of them, right?
Yeah.
I'm not like it, but they'll all say, well, it ain't the Premier League, is it? You can score, you can score hundreds of goals in the Italian league. If you can't do it over here, you ain't good enough. There was that elitist view, isn't there? That, you know,
he couldn't pick up Moyes' defensive system, though. He was defensively, he was hopeless. Now, you can say, like, well, that's not what he's in the team for, and I'm not going to argue with that, but
no.
I think we know that you have to pick up Moyes' defensive system or he doesn't pay you, which I think why Cornet's been slow to get into the team, because I don't think he's with it. And I think that's why Bowen and Fornal stay in, because they carry out his defensive assignment to a T.
Yeah, I agree.
Hammerhead
says it's not like we couldn't have afforded to buy Haaland. He was only 64 million. Hammerhead, that was like the world's most expensive deal, including agents' fees. I think his dad got about 500 million or something. But it weren't quite that much. But basically, that deal was obscene. 64 million to Dortmund, yes, but the total cost of the deal was probably more than what West Ham are worth.
Yeah,
we couldn't have signed him. No way.
You don't want a background with that job, wasn't it?
Yeah. He's superhuman now, isn't he? Like watching that guy play.
But then he's got a system that works for him.
Yeah.
I've watched City for years. The amount of balls De Bruyne used to put through for Jesus so he could miss them, and Sterling as well.
Yeah.
Basically, they've got someone who can score. They've got someone who plays their system who can score. That's the difference between him and someone else.
Kent Hammers, you're gonna like this one, Luke. Look. I can see Brendan Rodgers coming in. I wouldn't want it. I can see it. Oh, do you know something? I'm going to be honest with you. I actually wouldn't be against it.
I know you wouldn't. I'm waiting for you to say that.
I wouldn't be against it. I didn't realise quite how minuscule he is. Did you see that on Facebook the other day? He's about 5'1".
He is a mini manager.
He's a very tiny manager.
He's the opposite of Moyes, because he'll play
some lovely, sexy football.
But we'd also be shocking at the back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Defense like a fucking sieve.
Yeah. So we could be going lose 4-3 and 5-3.
Listen. I would take Rodgers. I think with this group of players, I think it'd be sexual.
Throw my hat in the ring for no.
It would be. What about you, Grant? Would you take Brendan Rodgers?
What the man? If he survives till the weekend, then he's got to play Gerrard, and the loser leaves town. So let's sign him up quick.
To be fair though, Leicester are being
cheap and available, which are a lot like.
But Leicester are being asset stripped at the minute, aren't they?
They seem to be, don't they? They've got a nice new training ground now. It's beautiful.
They're being asset stripped.
Yeah, beautiful training ground.
Yes, because they've got financial fair play issues, haven't they?
Yeah,
yeah.
And they need to come under. They need to get under the barrier, don't they? So
Mr. May says Brendan Rodgers is a very slimy individual, the sort of geezer who gets caught fitting hidden cameras in women's toilets.
Great character.
Oh dear. Okay, look, should we wrap this up, because we do have work in the morning. It's been a good show. It's been quite therapeutic. Thank you all for joining us, Luke.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Nice to see you, Grant. I've never met you before or anything, so good to.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Yeah, good to share a channel with you.
You guys confident for Thursday?
Yeah, we're going to beat Bucharest. Yeah,
we'll win that and then lose to Newcastle.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. At the minute, I mean, look, I will watch it, and obviously it'll be nice to see it. I'm not too bothered about the Conference League.
Shut up.
No,
Shut up.
not until we start performing. No, not really. I'm more worried
I'm
about the
going
weekend.
down now.
I'm
I'm
worried
going
about
down
the
now. I love
weekends.
the European nights. I love
I'm
the
worried about the
European
weekend.
nights.
I think we loved it more when we were playing teams like Sevilla and Leon and people
Now we're playing a
seriously
load of
recognised it.
fucking playing a load of bakers and
Yeah, but this
things
is
like
Stoya
that.
Bucharest. These are a proper team. They're not butchers.
European
butchers
Cup
and bakers.
winners.
Yeah, some of them are.
Exactly.
Some of them
Good.
are decent. But this is also, I'll tell you now, if Moyes doesn't get to at least the final of the Conference League, I think he's definitely got things to answer for, because to get to a semi-final of a harder competition and then not get to the final of a lesser competition, no matter how much you look at it, results-wise, that's going to speak volumes, I think, for where he wants to go.
I think what I'll say is, Luke, I think our focus on that competition will only become even relevant if we start picking, and if we do actually start picking up in the league. If we don't start picking up in the league, that competition is just going to be a fucking nonsense that we're not going to want to be bothered with.
Use it to play the youth and the teams that he's never ever going to play. So
I think it's brilliant for us at the moment. We need extra games to bed these players in. It's excellent for us.
Yeah, Moyes needs games to play his B team, so he don't have to play them in the weekend at the Premier League. That's what it is. He can keep them all happy.
So at least Bowen's going to have a nice Christmas off anyway, because he ain't going to the World Cup, is he? He ain't going to the World
Not playing like this, he ain't, is he?
No, he's not. He's not.
Yeah, look, I'm with Kent. I'm with Kent here. Look, he's going Thursday, and I'd play a reserve team. Fucking so would I.
No,
our reserve team's good though.
I genuinely would.
But our reserve team's good now. That's the thing. We've got the depth. So,
I don't think Kent's saying our B team. I think Kent's saying our reserve team.
I don't want to lose it. I love Europe.
Yeah,
I love Europe. Any form of Europe. I love it. It's a lovely trophy, Kent. It's lovely.
It's very nice, actually, to be fair.
Yeah. No, it's a nice looking trophy. It's one of the most attractive trophies.
It made Mourinho cry. That's how nice a trophy.
He just loves winning shit, doesn't he? He loves winning stuff.
Mourinho's getting a tattoo of it somewhere on his body, he said.
He's got them. He's got all three, hasn't he? He's got the Champions League, Europa League, and that now.
Oh, brilliant.
But what I will say is, I like someone that takes cups seriously.
Yeah, same here.
You know,
Moyes got the bet wake up printed on his back. That's as far as he's gone.
I know. Right, Gary.
Yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Grant. Cheers, Luke. Right. So thank you for all your lovely comments. I think what we're doing, when are we back? We're just doing daily shows this week, aren't we?
We may do a live review show after the European game if it's worth it.
Depends.
Gary will do it because Gary loves the European nights. So Nick,
I love the European nights. They set me on fire. But yeah,
Gary's on fire.
He's not shagging Danny Dyer.
So anyway, look, we are done. Thank you all for joining. See you soon, and come on, you irons.
Yeah, yes.
On you irons.
Irons.